So, episode 5 of season 7 picks up at Karen's shop. Zach is asking for the DNA test. Karen is objecting. She is accusing Zach of slut shaming her. He is telling her, hey, you doing the most. That's not what I'm saying. However, I did hear about how you got out in college. So, my last recap, I did mention how he was going to say something to her about that. He did not mention names. But Karen, being Karen, automatically thought Fatima told him that. Now, why would your dumb ass think Fatima, of all people, would tell him about your college days? Did you know Fatima in college, Karen? So think, where else would he get that information from? But see, that's how much of a hater she is. She wants a reason to hate Fatima so bad that she thinks that Fatima is responsible for this man wanting a DNA test when this is literally supposed to be his child. So whether Fatima was in the picture or not, he is within his own right to ask for this DNA test because your mom, Pam, and everybody around you clearly want you to rely on Zach to help you keep your shop afloat. So if you're going to get child support from someone, you need to prove paternity, correct? It's only fair. But what does Karen still do? She says, I don't even want you in my child's life. Whoa. 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 So I'm asking for a DNA test and you don't want me to be in the child's life at all? That's a red flag. I don't care what nobody say. That's a red flag. So then a few seconds later, Trey steps in to say, hey, I don't want no problems. So, okay, if you don't want no problems, move around. Like I said in my last recap. But Zach, of course, was like, oh, so this is what we got going on. This is your new guy. All right, bet. Lisa, Karen's mother, comes up and tells Zach, hey, I thought we talked and I thought I told you not to come in here. And so long story short, Zach ends up leaving. And then Pam tells Karen, listen, just like everybody else is telling Karen, they're telling her the same thing. She just doesn't want to hear it. Listen, Karen, I think you should ease up a little bit. If he wants that DNA test, give him that DNA test. That way you have solid proof that he's the father and you can go after that check. That's basic. That's what she was telling Karen. Karen is like, girl, and this is what blows me about Karen, the way that she treats and dismisses Pam and just belittles her, I just cannot tolerate it. And that's the reason why I don't like Karen's her character. But she tells her, like, listen, I don't want to talk to you. Basically, like, you of all people, I'm not going to talk to you about this. As if Pam ain't been the main one there for her throughout this pregnancy. Let's keep in mind, last season, Pam was there for her. When she needed Pam to do certain things, Pam did it. Yes, Pam is responsible for her shop burning down, but Pam is still there with Karen every step of the way during moments where her own sister circle is absent. And so I hope one day Pam sees her worth and realizes that Karen don't care about her. Hopefully she can find another opportunity to where there's more money to be made and she can get up out of this shop, because I just don't like how Karen treats her at all. And that's why everything around Karen is crumbling. But a few moments after that, Danny walks in drunk and proposes a toast to Karen. I personally feel like this was a toast, a guilty toast. I feel bad for what I told Zach toast, so I want to come and show my friends some love and support to kind of cover my own ASS, if that makes any sense. So I feel that that is the kind of toast that Danny proposed. But y'all let me know if you agree or disagree and why in the comment section. In that same scene, moments later, Lisa comes back and writes Karen a check to help her cover her business expenses. After she cuts her the check, she asks her, what you gonna do if plan A don't work? Karen is like, basically, she doesn't have a plan B, so she's gonna have to figure it out. But everybody already got Karen's plan B figured out. Zach. And this is what I don't like. Lisa telling her, hey, get that DNA test. If this is what he's asking for, get it. Because this is all you need to prove paternity so that you can get that check. And so that way you don't have to worry about your shop falling apart or losing your shop. A lot of people on Twitter, the people are not feeling this. Using Zach as an ATM to keep your failing shop afloat, like I said in my last recap, I'm just not feeling. Child support is for the child. What these people are telling Karen to do is to use this man. So are y'all even acknowledging the fact that the baby is going to need the support? Because like I said last episode, if I have to give you child support to take care of my child when I am financially capable of doing so, I'm getting full custody. What do you mean? Like, I'm going to get full custody. And in custody court, I'm going to tell them how your business is failing and how you are not financially stable to take care of this child. I'm going to get my son or my daughter. Like, hello. And so she then repeats to her mother what she said to Zach. I don't even want him in my child's life. Riddle me this. If all you need to do is take a DNA test to prove paternity, that way you can get financial support for whatever you're going to use it for, why wouldn't you do that? You mean to tell me that you are more comfortable willingly being a single mother because you don't want to give this man a proper DNA test using his DNA? What sense does that make? That's a red flag in itself. If somebody asked me, for one, I told my baby daddy, knowing that he was the father of my child in the hospital, do you want a DNA test? Like, do you want one? Like, we can make sure. I don't want nothing coming up down the line. Even though we were together still, I don't want nobody trying to pull nothing. Do you want a DNA test? We're right here. We can do it right now in the hospital. He said no. Cool. Say less. Sign the birth certificate. That was that. So for her to sit there knowing, like I said, I knew that was my child's father. I knew who my child's father was. And me to offer a DNA test? Come on, man. Like, let's be for real. You knew, or you know, that there is more to the story in terms of who you've been laying in bed with. And that right there told you that, okay, now this person wants to give me their DNA when I've already excluded somebody else. Not knowing, or at this point, we don't know that there could potentially be somebody else. Remember, there was a few seasons ago, where she went to the doctor and they told her the date that she approximately conceived. And they said it was on the 12th of a month. And she was like, so it's not the 19th? And the doctor was like, science is not always perfect, but chances are no. It was more so around the 12th. And then she had this dumbfounded look on her face. So you know who you slept with on the 12th and you know who you slept with on the 19th. But you're trying to make whoever you slept with on the 19th your baby's daddy. And it wasn't Aaron. So, and possibly, clearly, it may not have even been Zach. So I don't know. Later on, Trey comes back into the shop. He has more boxes. He tells Karen, hey, I'm going out to lunch. Would you like to join? And Karen says, you know what? I haven't eaten. So yes, I'll come. Before we go on to the next scene, how do you guys think Trey and Karen's relationship is going to go from here? Because obviously we know the other sisters in the circle have their own relationships. Karen was single because she had let go of Aaron, and Zach has moved on to Fatima. So now we see that she is potentially going to start her own. She's going to have her own new relationship forming. And a lot of people, some people, I won't say a lot, but some people like myself feel away because I feel like, okay, I don't even know if Trey has even asked her about her relationship status, but it doesn't seem that he's even acknowledging the fact that she's pregnant. I just personally don't feel comfortable with a man coming on to a woman that's clearly pregnant. Like, let's call a thing a thing. She's pregnant. It's not like she's not showing. Like, she's to the point where at any moment we should be knowing what the gender of the child is. Like, I just don't think that this is the best timing to try to build a new relationship, an intimate relationship with somebody. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. If you're still here, that means you are enjoying the show. So I do appreciate you staying and stopping by. My name is Juju and I am your host. Currently, I am at 710 subscribers, so a lot of growth over these past couple of weeks. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, drop the number subscriber you are in the comment section below and let me know what city and state you are from. I am so close to being monetized, and it would really help me if you guys, again, liked, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you stay to the end of the video, that will help me complete my watch hour goal. And of course, when you guys subscribe, that helps me reach my subscriber goal. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get back into the show. So this next scene was very quick. I did skip a few insignificant scenes, so I'll just get into the meat and potatoes. So Andy and Fatima were chatting. Andy had just gotten off the phone with Jordan, and Jordan had invited her out to dinner. Fatima sits down and Andy's like, okay, what you want? I know that look. And Fatima's like, listen, talk to your girl. Andy is like, no, I don't have time for that. I'm not dealing with that. I got the feds after Gary. I'm trying to make partner. We already got to deal with Michael and the child that we know is his. Like, I got bigger fish to fry. Long story short, that's what Andy told her. And so in that same conversation, Fatima does give Andy the heads up that she feels that Hayden is up to something. So I'm glad that she actually said something. I wasn't sure when she was going to say something to her, because it's good that you have Andy's back, but I think it's better if Andy can have her own back, so that there are two people watching one back, if that makes sense. So I do like the way that the fact that she came in and told her, hey, watch your back, Hayden up to something. Don't know what he's up to, but I seen this. Just some real bitch shit, real bitch shit. Fatima has always stood 10 toes down behind Andy, and I love that about their relationship. But let me know what you guys think about this scene below, and we'll get into our next scene. So this next scene is in Gary's office. He is visibly furious, he's paranoid, and he's listening to the radio discuss the run for city council. He mentions to his little tech guy or whatever how he needs this story to break immediately and what's the holdup. The guy tells him, hey, I got some police connects, or my guy has some police whoever is supposed to be leaking his story, there are some police connections that are interfering with it being released. So it's a stall on that. They both eventually leave the office, and then Penelope comes in with food. She has the food. She notices that Gary is gone, so she again takes another opportunity to start rambling through his things. Now, I knew at some point that this girl was going to get caught, because it's like, girl, you're not being slick at all. You need to be more calculated when you know you're about to be a spy, or when you know you're about to be snooping around in people's stuff. So as she's doing that, she hears him coming, and she quickly closes the drawer. And that look people have, or their posture, the posture that they have when you can tell they've been up to something. Yeah, she pulled one of those. So then he asks her, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I just came to bring you food and XYZ. And can you believe they didn't give me any plasticware? So I was just looking at, and he was like, no, nope, stop, don't do it. And so she stops. He tells his tech guy, I say tech guy because that's the guy that's been on the computer doing stuff for him. So the tech guy, he tells the tech guy to leave the office. And it was just an awkward moment. Penelope is trying to play it off. He's upset. She's kissing him and telling him, oh, I'll see you when I get home. And he's basically like, yeah, all right, whatever. Get the out of here. And so she leaves. She calls the tech guy back in. He's clearly, again, visibly annoyed and disgusted. He doesn't even like his own fiance, if you ask me. And he tells the tech guy to throw the food out. What do y'all think will happen next in Penelope and Gary's relationship? I'll be honest and say I can't quite predict it. But we know he's already made some adjustments to her insurance policy. So we know he has access to that. And at this point, it doesn't seem like she's aware of that. When do you guys think, or how do you guys think she's going to become aware that someone, Gary rather, has been tampering with her credit cards and her insurance policies? Because he did also take out her credit cards out of her wallet too, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he took pictures of those. So let me know what you guys think about Gary and Penelope's relationship. What will happen next? And we'll get into our next scene. So the therapy session with Danny is actually the scene that I enjoyed the most. Not because I like to see people in pain, but because I think we actually get more insight into who Danny is and why she is the way that she is. So she mentions Preston. She also mentions the man Jonah, who she had to run over with her car because he was physically abusive to her. The therapist then asks her, was that her only abusive relationship? And she explains that that wasn't, bringing up a time that she was in college dating a star athlete who used to always criticize her looks, her hair, makeup, weight, etc. And that one time there was a situation where he pulled her into the locker room, choked her, punched her, slut-shamed her. And as she's recollecting on this experience, she begins to cry. And so I feel that now Danny, now that she's in therapy, she is starting to, this therapist is going to help her break down certain barriers to better understand who she is and what does Danny really need at this point in her life. So I know that a couple of recaps ago, I kind of mentioned like, when will Danny's character develop? When will we see growth with Danny's character? And I think that therapy is going to be the answer to that question. I think because of therapy, it's going to allow Danny to really self reflect and have her look in the mirror and say, hey, listen, do I want to continue to live this way forever? What is it that I need to do or change within myself so that way I don't continue to make the same mistakes, whether it's dating, with friends, whatever. What do I need to do as a person to better myself? So I think that the therapy sessions is where Danny's character is going to develop. I think she's going to mature because these therapy sessions are going to allow her to put the mirror in her face and say, hey, listen, what we gonna do, girlfriend? Do you want to keep feeling and living like this forever? Or do you want to grow as a person and actually have a healthy relationship with the right man? So let me know what you guys think about this session. Also, if you yourself have experienced a domestic situation that you feel comfortable sharing with us in the comment section, please feel free to do so. I love to hear about these sorts of stories. I love to hear how people got through them. If you went to therapy, how did therapy help you? If you haven't gone to therapy or at the moment where the domestic abuse was going on, how did you get through it? How did you overcome it? Please share your experience in the comments because you never know who might be able to learn and benefit from it. But let's go ahead and get into the next scene. We're almost finished. And as a reminder, let me let y'all know that I do this stuff strictly from my phone. I use free software because I'm not about to invest too much money into this until I start making more money, if that makes sense. But so we're at Rich's shop. Sabrina walks in, they exchange kisses. Rich is excited about the new plan he has to open. I want to say they're gyms, but assuming he has one open and he has plans to open several others in the future. And so Sabrina's like, oh, okay, that's great. Congratulations. And, I kind of have plans of my own. And he's like, well, if they're business plans, you already know I got you. So look no further. And she's like, no, not quite. I've decided to freeze my eggs. And he's like, oh, okay. I think that's a great idea. In case you and I don't work out, you can still get what you want. And so for people who don't know why women preserve their eggs or freeze their eggs, what she's doing is, since she's in her 30s and fairly healthy, she's preserving a good egg for later use in later ages. So women do that because obviously at a certain point, our bodies can no longer reproduce. So we freeze our eggs to use them at a later time. And so that conversation got cut real short, real quick. It became awkward, and Rich escaped by saying, hey, this is a busy time at work. Thank you for stopping by. I'll catch you later. I don't know how much longer Rich and Sabrina are going to last. I'll be honest. He really does not want kids, and she really does. They're on two opposite end of the wanting children spectrum, literally. One is on the no, 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 and one is on the yes, yes, yes. And it seems like there is no middle ground anywhere. So, at what point, I guess, because obviously we know that the relationship is not going to last. Let's just put it out there. It's not going to last. I've mentioned previously that I think Sabrina's going to end up bumping into someone one day just on something casual. They're going to be discussing, life and just getting to know each other. That person is going to mention how they want children and a family and everything that she wants. And slowly but surely, Rich is going to be in the rear view. That's how I think it's going to go because I really can't predict it going any other way. But if you guys can predict it going any other way, again, drop it in the comment section below. So this next scene, Danny is back at work and she's in Tony's office. He asks her, hey, how was therapy? She's just like, yep, it was good. And he was like, okay, it was just good. She's like, yeah, it was fine. Keeping it very short with him. And he's like, okay, like, are you okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like any normal person would be like, I know you went to therapy, but girl, are you fine? And so she's just being really short with him. He asks her, hey, do you still want to go out to lunch? She's like, hey, about that, I'm not hungry. There's a flight coming in. I'm just gonna work. In other words, he's like, oh, okay. They then have a conversation about the therapy session, and he mentions to her, like, hey, don't shut me out. Like, don't shut me out because I feel like he's starting to pick up on the fact that she's very short with him. She, if you ask me, she looks nervous around him, like she's never been around him before, and uncomfortable, I guess. Maybe I should say that, uncomfortable. And he's starting to pick up on that. So he's like, hey, I'm glad you went to therapy, and I hope it works out for you, but don't shut me out. Like, don't shut me out. Because honestly, if it wasn't for Tony, she wouldn't be in therapy. He's the first person that actually brought that up to her. So I can see what he means. Like, hey, I want the best for you, but don't shut me out in the process. And she's like, the therapist did say that that is my defense mechanism, so I'm going to try not to. He asks, can he come over? She declines. And then as she's leaving, I think she changed her mind, maybe realizing, okay, I'm shutting him out. Let's not do that. He hasn't done anything to me for me to judge him or feel a way about him like I do feel about others. I think that was in her mind. So she's like, okay, yeah, you can come over. That's fine. So he said, I'll be over in 30 minutes. And that was that on that. So where do you guys think their relationship is going to go from here? Because we saw in the previews for the next episode that he's going to introduce Danny to his children. And I think that that is going to be Danny's escape from him. Hey, you got children. I don't have any children. You know, I need to figure myself out, figure out what it is that I want. I don't know if this is going to work. I feel that because he's introducing his children to her, I don't know. Again, this is just going off of the previews. I'm not knowing if was she already aware that he had children? I mean, if you're dating someone, you should know if they have kids. So I don't want to say like she just did not know he had children unless he blatantly lied about it because that's the first thing you ask people when you're getting to know them. Do you have kids? Like, come on now. And so I feel like just him introducing the children and them being not little kids but a little older, it might be much for her. It might be a little too much for her. And I think that she is just gonna cop out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And we're again almost finished. Let's get into our next scene. So Gary and Hayden are on the phone. News has recently leaked that Jordan was sleeping with his secretary, who at the time was 16 and was his intern. Fatima tells Andy this information, and Andy literally just brushes it off. She understands politics, understands scandals, and I feel that she's looking at it from that angle before she gets herself hyped up. Hayden walks up, wraps his arms around both women's shoulder and tells them, have a good day, and walks away. Very suspicious, very random. And so I feel that he did that because, again, he and Gary were on the phone. Gary told him about this story that's about to leak, that's about to shake the table. So, and he knows that Andy and Jordan are involved. So if a bad press release comes out around Jordan, it's going to look bad on Andy's part when she's trying to become partner at the firm. So that's my thought process, but let me know if you guys agree or disagree. And let me know why, I guess, or what's the alternative thought process. So before they go out to eat and before they end their workday, Fatima also tells Andy, hey, I know this guy, he seems great. You guys seem to be kicking it off real strong, real hard, but please do not end up making the same mistake you made with Gary. Watch out for the red flags. Everything that glitters ain't gold. Fatima, Andy's like, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And that was pretty much that on that. This next scene, we have Paige and Sabrina at Brookhaven Bank. Paige is being the snob that she is. A phone call came in from a customer that Sabrina was handling their account. Sabrina wasn't around to take the call, so Paige took it. She looked over the account incorrectly and told the man incorrect information, thinking that she won up Sabrina. So then she brings the man's account to Sabrina's attention. She's like, well, this account is $500,000 off. And Sabrina is the whole time looking at her like, girl, what the fuck you want now? What do you mean the account is off, girl? She takes the manila envelope, looks at it, shows her, girl, you're reading it wrong. It's plus 500,000. Thank you, but no thanks. Now I'm gonna have to call this man back and tell him
that he indeed is making 500K, not losing 500K. So Paige looking stupid, dumbfounded. All she could do was apologize, which I'm glad at least her character did that. Because, like, girl, you're doing the most. Just like Sabrina said, let me handle my own stuff. And so she then picks up the phone. Sabrina calls Maurice and tells Maurice, like, dude, I just had to check her. Like, what is going on? And so Maurice was like, man, I wish I was there, basically. She wouldn't be doing none of that. Wouldn't none of that be going on. So a lot of people predict that eventually Maurice will get his job back at the bank, and Maurice is going to handle Paige from here on out. Do you guys agree? I honestly feel like yes, because I don't really see the point in Maurice's character if he does not get his job back at the bank. I just don't. He's not a main character. He's Sabrina's friend. And if you ask me, Sabrina is not even a main character. I think the main characters are like Andy, Zach, Karen, like the major storylines, I feel. Um, she's a main character, but she's on the bottom of the main character totem pole, if that makes sense. So I just don't see where Maurice's character would be able to continue to be on the show without Sabrina. So the only way for him to remain on the show and have a storyline would be to come back to work. But let me know what you guys think about that. And we'll get into our final scene and get up out of here. So this last scene, Jordan and Andy, they're out to eat. They're kissy kissy, touchy touchy, more so Jordan. And then Andy tells him about the scandal and things of that sort. And he's like, I'm not perfect, I will admit, but I don't have anything to hide. I'm not worried about anything coming out that could damage my reputation or jeopardize me becoming, what is it, a counsel? Whatever. So she's like, okay, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm good. And so they leave the restaurant. Gary's in the car sniffing dope. And as they get into their car or head toward their car, you can see him grab for a gun. They get in the car, they pull off. He doesn't do what he came to do. He basically did not stand on business. So I know I mentioned a couple recaps ago that I don't think that this season is going to get violent like that to where somebody is murdered. I said that on the episode where he had updated or made some changes to Penelope's life insurance policy. Because when you think life insurance, you think death. And if somebody goes and tries to upgrade or add more to your policy, what I'm thinking is either A, he's trying to money launder, or B, he is trying to increase her death benefit so that when her ass die, he gets more money for her death. So those are the only two reasons I could think of as to, why he would do that. But I don't know if that's the case, or the only reason why I would think somebody would die, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is because he wouldn't update her policies. But still, how would he then get rid of his own baby mother? So I don't know. But then we see at the end of this episode where it looks like he's almost about to kill someone, one or both of them, but then he backs down. So I'm wondering, why did he back down? And I'm wondering, who was he there to shoot? Was he there to shoot Andy? Was he there to shoot Jordan? Or was he there to shoot both of them? Wouldn't know. But I feel like as these episodes air, some parts are becoming a little more unpredictable, because they're way off, if that makes sense. Like this whole season, nobody has pulled out a gun, nobody has been violent, nobody has really done any hard drugs. We've never seen any of that. But sometimes when characters change so drastically, it tells me that their storyline is about to end, because how will Gary's character rebrand from this, if that makes sense? You know what I mean? How will he redeem himself from this moment on? And I personally think that he was there. I don't think he was there to shoot Andy or to do anything to harm Andy, because I feel like he still actually likes Andy. I think he still cares for Andy. But I do think he was there to take out Jordan, because I remember him saying on one of these episodes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he was like, "You think you finna take what's mine?" And so I'm thinking like, well, you're not running for councilman. So what do you mean? And the only thing I could think of is Andy. So do you guys think Gary is indeed jealous of Jordan and Andy's relationship. Meanwhile, this whole time he's been trying to play it off like he's good and he's so in love with Penelope. I kind of think so. I do. Because he doesn't even seem to like Penelope. He is pretending not to like Andy. Keep in mind, he was sniffing her panties when he went to her bathroom a couple episodes ago. So I think that he actually does have feelings for Andy. I think that's maybe why, and I don't know if there's going to be something that happens between him and Hayden where he backs out of his part of the deal because he doesn't want to harm Andy in any way, whether it's her becoming partner or physically harming her. But I guess let me know what you guys think. I'm about to get up out of here. Again, comment below, I'll comment back, and let's get the discussion popping.